Welcome back to ARC PDX. The Distilled Spirits Council of the United States says distilleries provide 1.7 million U.S. jobs and contribute $200 billion to the U.S. economy. But like many industries right now, distilleries are feeling the effects of retaliatory tariffs. So joining us this morning is Chris Swanger, the president and CEO of the Distilled Spirits Council of the United States. Thanks so much for joining us, Chris.
Thanks for having us, Wesley. I look forward to the discussion.
Yeah, we do too. So this year, the European Union and Canada imposed retaliatory tariffs on American whiskeys. The EU's is at 50%, Canada's is at 25%. So what kind of impact has this had on distillers' revenues since this was implemented?
Well, I can say a little bit of a backdrop. Thankfully, the EU has not imposed that 50% tariff, and we're thankful for that. But during his first term, President Trump, obviously, we've all witnessed it, has taken a fairly aggressive trade posture to bring more steel and aluminum manufacturing back to the United States to reduce the trade deficits. And our great industry got caught up in a tit for tat. And it was when the EU imposed a 25% tariff on American whiskey back in June 2018 that got our industry caught up in this. Our industry has thrived in markets where there's zero for zero tariffs. We export, put the current trade tensions aside, in 51 markets around the world where there's zero for zero tariffs, 86% of our exports. And there's a great American success story that's happening right in Oregon as well. 20 plus years ago, there were only 60 distilleries in the United States. And today there's over 3,100, 70 of them in the great state of Oregon. And a big part of their growth platforms is be able to export in big trading markets like the EU, the UK, Canada, Mexico, Japan. So we're working closely, and we're going to try to untangle ourselves because with the uncertainty, we're flying through a lot of turbulence at the moment.
Are there any specific categories of American spirits that have been impacted the most by the tariffs, like bourbon, whiskey, or malts?
Yeah, we've got a great distillery in right outside of Portland called Ransom Spirits. And they make American whiskey and bourbon. The unique thing about our industry is we're an industry of distinctive products. We don't sell widgets. American whiskey, bourbon, can only be made in the United States, just like tequila can only be made in Mexico. So our industry is very, very unique. And when the EU imposed a 25% tariff on American whiskey for about 3 or 4 years, now potentially threatening a 50% tariff, we saw a 20% decline in American whiskey exports. So in order to keep this great American success story going, the growth of distilleries like in Oregon, we've got to work with the Trump administration and make sure those tariffs aren't applied any further.
So how effective have industry advocates been at getting relief from tariffs? It looks like your organization is leading the Toast Not Tariffs coalition. So what progress have you guys been able to make?
I think look, knock on wood, we're doing really well. And give it a little bit of hope. Believe it or not, the biggest whiskey market in the world is none other than India. And the American whiskey market in India is just a tick. Why? Because India's had a 150% tariff on American whiskey for years. So some progress. Look, the president, everybody's got a lot of different views on the president's approach to trade and so forth. But about 2.5 months ago, the prime minister of India reduced the tariff on American whiskey by 50%. Now it's still a 100% tariff. And that's a long-term market build. But the U.S. and India are now negotiating a free trade agreement. So there is an opportunity for potential long-term growth in India. Yeah. So our industry is the model for fair and reciprocal trade, and it's imperative that we work with the Trump administration to untangle us from these tit for tats. And of course, Canada is a current challenge because many the provinces have removed American distilled spirits off the shelves. That's due to the emotion between the two national governments. And Canada is right now still applying a 25% tariff on American whiskey. So we've got some work to do, but just know the Distilled Spirits Council is working on behalf of those great 70 distillers and ransom spirits, and to make sure we can export our great spirits products around the world.
Chris Swanger, President and CEO of the Distilled Spirit Council of the United States. Thank you so much for breaking that down for us and for the context. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Wesley. Cheers. Toast, not tariffs.
Cheers to you too.